Do you have a video card that has no display? I will show you with simple tools how to possibly get it back up and running again. Good morning. Okay, so real simple video today. This customer, I built this computer for them a few years ago just for general office stuff, but I wanted to make it so they could use more than one monitor. And they had an older monitor, so I just bought this simple MSI card. Probably cost about $50 new, but they came in for a motherboard upgrade and no display. So I'm looking at this and I don't really see any like anything that stands out as far as the board goes. So we're going to try what's called a reflow. This is a very simple thing you can do with, you don't need real special tools per se, but I'm going to show you what you can do to sometimes bring back a video card. Also guys, it should be noted back in the day, before I had the tools that I have now, like my soldering station and whatnot, I did use other things. For instance, one of my early videos I show where I use tin foil, aluminum foil, and a $20 heat gun from Home Depot. So check out that video and you'll see how I did it back in the day before these tools. So first thing I'll do is take this heat sink off, and just about all cards have a couple screws on the back. They're usually spring-loaded screws, so that way it doesn't squish the chip too badly. It just sets at a little bit of certain amount of tension. Depending on the height of the chip, it could vary by a millimeter or something. And that's the actual video chip right there. So we're going to get it under the microscope, see if we can find any obvious problems, and then we will do our process. Okay, so we're going to take this, go under the microscope, and do a check of this board. There's the video chip right there. And we will start at the top left right here and just kind of look for anything that is obvious. Now, if we don't see anything, real good chance it's the video chip itself. Typically, it's that, or it could possibly be capacitors like this, but there's two capacitors on here that would be suspect that they both look perfectly fine. I don't see any burn marks on anything. I don't see any burn marks like down the traces, indicating any kind of short. But I have found in the past when you have these video cards that are fanless, just have the heatsink by itself, you know, even though they're designed to run that way, you can have problems with heat. Also noticing these right here, just while we're here, I'll show you. Usually you can tell what these are by the part numbers, but these are RAM, video RAM. Usually somewhere in the chip model, you'll see something like 8 gigabytes, 2 gigabytes, something like that. I don't really see anything like that here, but this is probably a 2 gigabyte or 1 gigabyte card. So these are probably, these 4 chips are probably 256 or 512, but I don't see a 512 in there. Anyway, moving on. Everything on this board looks just fine. We'll look on the back, even though there really isn't anything to see there. Everything looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to clean off the thermal paste, which is almost non-existent, real dry. That could be a problem. And also it's the stuff on here, we're going to get rid of that as well. Usually you can just wipe it off, but I'm going to put a little alcohol on there just to make it a little easier. Yeah, see, this stuff is really dry. Could very well be our problem. All right. I'm going to get this cleaned off camera, and we'll be right back. Okay, looks pretty good. It is virtually clean. It was really like flaking off really bad. I mean, it was super dry. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and put some flux on this, and we're going to use our hot air station to reflow this chip. Basically, remelt the connections underneath it. Also, some chips you'll see they'll have a little bit of glue right here on each corner. That actually is a remnant of a chip flaw. If you see things like that, what it is the these sit on balls of solder, whereas other things solder to the board, like these right here. But this sits on little balls of solder, hundreds of them, and they get really hot. And NVIDIA chips were designed this way. But it was found later that when it would get super hot, you could actually have issues with the connections underneath here failing because the chip moves slightly. So anyway, that was a big problem, but that's why they started putting glue on it. So if you see glue on the corner of those chips, that's why. All right, we're going to use our heat station. I've got it turned on at 50% airflow at about 450 degrees Celsius. What we're going to do is we're going to hit this until we start to see bubbling coming out all sides, until we're pretty sure that we've got a remelt of that solder underneath. Sometimes you can push it, just it's called a nudge test, just to see if it moves ever so slightly. All right, just about done. I think I'll leave it at that. And never touch it right away because of the fact that it might still be molten underneath. Give it a second here, and then I'll throw some alcohol on it and clean it a little bit. See that stuff boiling off. It's crazy. All right. All right, so that's going to do it for that part of it. So what I'm going to do now that we have clean and reflowed and old thermal paste is off, we're going to put new thermal paste on, which apparently I don't have at this bench, so let me grab it. Got to be honest, I'm really not picky about thermal paste. It really, in my opinion, especially for low-end stuff, doesn't really matter that much. But just going to put a little on there like that. But I will say that if you have thermal paste that is really dried out, it's as bad as not using it at all, in my opinion. Because if it dries out and starts to flake away, you have an issue where it can actually create air pockets between the heat sink and the chip, which can actually cause it to overheat. Alright, there's one. When I put these back in, I actually don't tighten them all the way until I get them all in, just so everything lines up. Okay, this is done. I will be back in just a moment with it in a machine to see if we made it work. Fun story, I didn't notice I put this on upside down. Obviously it's not going to fit in a board that way, so I'm going to flip that around real quick. That looks much better. Let's give this a shot. There it is, back in its case. There we go. Okay guys, just a video of concept. This does not always work, but in this case we got lucky. So appreciate you watching, guys. If you want to subscribe, I do have quite a few things coming up that are pretty interesting. Repairs and micro repairs, soldering videos, things like that. But anyway, like and subscribe, guys. Thanks for your support, and we'll see you in the next one. See ya.